Is it noon yet?
Nope.
Then it's good morning.
Yes.
See, I was on top of that. You
That was good work.
Yeah, I know. You were trying to catch me.
I wasn't trying to catch you. I actually gave you a little help.
Nah, you didn't. You didn't do. You would never do anything to
Whatever.
Subtly be nice to me. Good morning, almost afternoon. Anthony Stabile, Andy Serling, back in action, talking horses. A little bit of snow, not that much.
No.
Nothing major. You got to get that thing clipped. What's
annoying.
going on back here?
It was clipped. It popped off.
It's a disaster.
It's annoying at this point. It's all.
Why are you
make sure you
using
keep
it?
Make sure you
Nobody
keep
even
the.
talks to you anyway.
Make sure you keep the single on me while we have the. Good job, guys.
We're off to a good start today.
Calling
the races today?
No, Sunday to Sunday.
Oh, okay. Just trying to remember. I knew you were.
Yeah. Now we got a little radio today. We got a little weekend stakes preview presented by Naira Bets. We'll cover the Saudi Cup, which has been in the news for a multitude of reasons now. A couple of jocks not being able to get over. Our own Gary Stevens not going to be able to head over there. And, yeah, got the Matty May tomorrow.
Do you have a pick in the Saudi Cup? I mean, Tacitus. You're all over. You got to be unloading.
I want to say
gotta
it.
Be like,
it's so bad. I want to say it. Man, I mean, I want to bet a few insanity insurance dollars on them, but
what price are you going to be?
Is it Knicks go? I mean, at this point,
I know who's not winning. Charlatan.
Right. That's what I mean.
I don't know who is winning. I know Charlatan's not winning.
That's I mean, the way Knicks go. I mean, he's like a different horse. So.
Well, I like the match. The only interest I have in the race is that I like the matchup of two very talented speed horses. Mm-hmm. And one of them has shown that he has real stamina. The other one, I think it's highly up in the air how much stamina he really has. I know that Charlatan did win the Arkansas Derby, to be fair, but to also be fair, there was nothing behind him, and it's far and away the worst race he ever ran.
And you would have to think the way the Run Happy Malibu played out, you would have to think he is going to, Charlatan's going to let him, I mean,
he's going to have to take him on.
At some point, yeah.
Some point relatively early, and a one-turn mile and eighth is a
maybe that helps our boy out.
Tricky race for him. He doesn't win under any circumstances.
William Buick, by the way.
I saw that. Yeah, I mean, I think that Bob Baffert would not have gone if it was $2 or $3 million. It's tough to turn down the $20 million.
He pretty much said that. He pretty much said that during the week.
My guess is in his heart he knows he's probably not going to win the race, and it's probably an ill-advised trip for him. But it's tough to turn down $20 million when you're a relatively short price.
And if you feel like you can run second, I mean, what's second money?
Why would he run second?
I
think he'll be nowhere. I'm just listen. It's racing, and I have opinions.
Okay.
I know it's a sin, according to people that bet, to have an opinion on a race and a strong opinion.
Is there a chance that that's just? I think the dynamics almost has to eliminate one of them. Maybe, yeah.
I love Charlatan as a horse. I think he's a wonderful racehorse. But
for $20 million.
Yeah, I get it.
I get it.
Yeah. Listen, you're supposed to go over if you're 20 to 1. Anyway.
Max player.
Head over to Naira Bets, by the way. You can play the Saudi Cup on Naira Bets. We'll be showing it on FS1, I think. We're on from 8:30 to 1.
I think the undercard goes FS2, and then you turn over to FS1 later on. Yeah, something like that. Yeah, we'll go over at noon to FS1. Yeah, you can play it all, like Andy said, Naira Bets.
Okay.
Boom.
You got it all? You're doing the reading the slates
you were a little
I got distracted. I don't know.
That's all right.
I'm a little distracted.
Love these contests. We can't play. Sorry, there's not 600 dead money in there.
Say less sucker money. Sorry, we apologize for that. We'd be happy to put our sucker money in there, but you can play against each other, and I agree. Great contest. Got till 5 o'clock today. Obviously, we didn't get to promote it yesterday with the cancellation. Weather looks good the rest of the weekend.
Yeah.
I don't understand.
It's supposed to get warm next week, too. It's supposed to be a little precipitation maybe Monday, but in the 40s.
I don't understand that people that ask me on questions about Twitter, like, if we're going to be racing, as though I have something to do with that. But also weather-related questions. Don't we all just have a weather app on our phone and, like, go to weather.com? Don't we all look at the same place?
Yeah. I mean, some of us pay a little bit more attention, I think.
But why not just do it yourself?
I think people look to you for guidance, Andy.
I feel sorry for them if that's the case.
You're like their sensei.
Naja with a very big, Naja Thompson with a big story in the Racing Post. He's gone international.
Mr. Worldwide.
He's huge now.
Yeah, he's like Pitbull.
I think he's going to forget us very soon. There's an ascendancy.
Do you think he ever remembered us?
He does, yeah. He does. We had a nice chat. We had a chat this morning we were texting. He's very excited about the new Stanley Tucci show on CNN. Did you watch it?
Oh, you know what? No, I didn't. But I saw some. I saw a little social media back and forth with somebody else.
You ready?
Maybe on Facebook. Yeah, I'm ready.
Hey, Anthony likes Klarovich horse in the first race. Why? Let's show the race. Well, let's show the race he comes out of. There was no reason to show him because he did absolutely no running in that, or she did no running in that race. I'm going to show the start first for Caladot. It was the first time that Caladot has actually run a respectable race in quite a while. Did not break in here, ends up in last, and actually got a great ride after that from Kendrick and finished third. I like the 4 who scratched out of here. I don't know if Linda thinks horse doesn't like a wet track or she has to have a few scratches every day to keep her record intact. I will say Caladad showed some life. I'm not sure Caladad's thrilled with being on a wet track. This track's muddy, though. Is it sealed or is it harrowed? Do you know?
Well, I don't know the answer to that question. When I took a look at it before, it looked there's a considerable amount of moisture on this racetrack.
I'm glad
and it's still coming down a little bit.
I'm glad we got the moisture in the track because the track last weekend was sort of beyond preposterous. I scratched it in the 3 Funny Bones flag. I do think Caladad's dangerous. What is it you possibly like?
I'm just hoping she improves a little bit second time out and she handles a wet track.
Because those Chad Brown firsters usually aren't ready.
She ran for maiden 40 in a state bred race, Andy. I'm just hoping a little experience. She takes the usual step forward. Horses take forward second time. Overall, horses usually take the step forward second time out. Listen.
Really?
She's going to be the 3rd choice in a 4-horse field.
You could use those bad stats of yours and see that his numbers are bad with his second time.
I don't trust Caladad. I guess Funny Boat Flag can win. I mean, so we're starting the day now.
Right. The problem with the 1 is that you're talking about a very short price on a horse that if it was trained by somebody else.
How short can she be?
It's a 4-horse field. She's going to be around 2 to 1 because it's Chad Brown.
Well, it's also a 4-horse field. I mean, I don't know what you're expecting.
Basically a 3-horse field. The 2 is going to be 100 to 1.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought this horse was the reason you want to play somebody else, but we'll see what happens. Race number 2. I thought this race, and I think a lot of people would agree, though you don't, was somewhat of a 2-horse race. What do you like about La Negrita?
She's outside. This is a horse who had issues being inside throughout her career. Now she's just drawn an outside draw. I think that's going to help her cause in here. I'm a little surprised at how much moisture is in this track, from being honest with you, because we got a good deal of snow. It didn't really we didn't really get any rain here, but I guess the temperature melted it a little bit and it made it a muddy track. Track's wet. She doesn't love a wet track, La Negrita. Don't be confused by her record. What do you mean we got snow. I just didn't think it was going to be as wet as it turned out to be.
Well, it was a lot of slushy snow and stuff. Why wouldn't it be wet?
No, we had like we didn't have that kind of snow here. It was that's what I'm trying to say. I live a mile from here. It was.
You live on like the 4th floor. You didn't tell the truth.
It's where the office is now.
You're not sleeping there?
No, I don't think I've ever even taken I may have taken a nap in there at some point. 3 hours
take a nap on the
TV and radio.
Take a nap on the air sometimes.
I have never fallen asleep on the radio. I don't know. Maybe. I just like that she's drawn outside. I mean, I guess 2-horse race.
I think it is. I think she's a distant 3rd, likeliest winner, but I could be wrong. We'll look at Lottie's Vision last time. I mean, it was a pretty weak field that she beat last time. If Nikki Scissors finished second, it's not a good race. By the way, we're up to 65. Doesn't do record. I have to come up with some bets today.
No, it's not a record. It was up to 66 at one point.
Was it? Oh,
yeah.
Good to know. Okay, well, it took me a while to get back to the top. I'll be eclipsing that soon. Lottie's Vision buried this field. I mean, she was driven hard. Trevor kind of eased up on her late, but she was ridden pretty hard until the last, 50 to 100 yards. She was better than those horses. Charlie Baker, boy, that horse has really come around. He has Bruce Levine. He took over the training of him, get the rail, but ran a huge figure. The Roddy horse, yeah. That horse ran. And I thought it was this horse or Wicked Title. Now, the thing with Wicked Title, we'll show Wicked Title's last race. I think it's a coin flip between these two. I don't really have a strong opinion. Wicked Title has some trouble at the start of this race as number 4 horse, and you're going to see just legitimately breaks a length and a half or so slow. It says hit the gate. Our guys are obsessed with the hit the gate comment. I would rather they wrote length slow, but whatever. It's each their own. Anyway, she does it at the gate, but she's not slow. I don't think she's slow because she hits the gate. I think she hits the gate because she's slow. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And she ran fine after that. She got a good trip after that, but I thought that she kind of stood in the gate, but she ran.
She hopped at the start.
What if
strange.
What if it happens again? I just thought one of these two would probably win.
Okay.
Because the problem is the one big fig for La
I'm going to use the three of them.
The one big fig for La Negrita just sort of sits in isolation with the rest of her career.
Does it's strange too because they all, well, not all of them, obviously, not Lottie's Mission. The other two fillies got to try the mile. We're on to the second race, guys. Yeah.
We're going to break after 4, by the way. I forgot to mention that at the top of the show.
La Negrita, Wicked Title.
Yeah, I didn't see La Negrita.
Trying the mile on dirt. Wicked Title went long on the turf a couple of times, but trying the mile on dirt for the first time.
Yeah, the mile does work for Lottie's Mission. I don't think it works for La Negrita. I think as you have closers trying to stretch out, I think it's a negative. But we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Race number 3. I'm surprised you picked the same horse as I do. I just took a stab with this horse. The horse to beat is Montauk Traffic. We'll take a look at Montauk Traffic winning last year's Jimmy Winkfield. And the question is, the horse ran fine in the return race 2 back, but last time's a total no-show. And after we look at the Jimmy Winkfield, we'll talk a little bit about some stats for Linda Rice.
Jimmy Winkfield, here he is running down Secret Rules, who's in the pink there on the inside. You see him come up the inside, Montauk Traffic. This was a fantastic ride by Jose Lascano, saving all the ground, tipping and getting the job done, as you'll see. Yeah, the return race was okay. The blinkers went on last time, Andy, and it was a late change now. Blinkers come off today. That was announced a little earlier. So I don't know how much of a role, if any, that played. This horse just looked lethargic and just didn't run last time.
Hang on a second. I know you think that blinkers matter, but Linda's dropping this horse in for 50. So if anything, she's trying to fool people and pretending she thinks the blinkers mattered. Because obviously, if she thought it was the blinkers,
you have a very nefarious. You have a very nefarious mind.
Nefarious?
Yeah. Why would you think she's trying to confuse people? This horse didn't run 2 steps last time.
Yeah, Linda's not shrewd at all. She's not shrewd.
Well, saying
she's not
shrewd and trying to fool people are two different things. It's one. I guess.
The
6 in one hand, half a dozen in the other, perhaps.
You bring up the thing about the blinkers, but the important factor is that a horse that was a stakes horse that ran competitively in the Gotham last year is dropping in for a tag. The blinker thing is worth discussing, but the reality is this is what matters. Now, Linda's numbers are fine here. The problem is this was not going to be 3-1. So she does okay, though, and the ROI is okay. It's around the takeout. It's slightly better than the takeout. But he's a deep closer in a race with no speed, and the other Montauk horse looks loose in the lead. The problem with Montauk Daddy, and I almost picked him on top, he's just not much horse.
And last time, it was a strange race last time because it looked like he was going to be in front of those horses. And Much Trouble, who wound up running second, was aggressively ridden and got to the lead.
Well, he just ran. I don't know how aggressively ridden he was. He just ran.
And as soon as he made the lead inside of Montauk Daddy kind of backed off. And from that point, he kind of lost position.
But he's going to be in front here.
He's supposed to be, yeah, of course. Is that enough? I put him second. I just wanted a little bit. You want to know what you said? Right? How good is he? I just wanted a little bit of a fresh face.
Okay.
That was it.
So what do you like about him?
I was just a little bit of a fresh face here. There's another. We haven't seen this horse in 11 months. Now there's a Wesley Ward. There's another Wesley Ward on the card later on. So they're both coming up from Turfway, from Kentucky. This horse debuted on dirt. Didn't do much running. This was many moons ago, almost 2 years ago at this point. And there's another horse dropping out of a stakes race from 11 months ago. I just hope this horse was a little forward from the inside draw. And maybe
no speed.
I'm sorry?
It really doesn't have any speed.
Yeah, I know, but you know what? The race from the April to June, from April to June, yeah, or was that January? April to January, he was a little aggressive inside. Look, he's nowhere near as fast as Montauk Daddy, but I'm hoping at the very least he's in the game a little bit. I don't know. It's like a fresh face syndrome here. I don't really want the rest of these horses.
Well, the 3 and 5 are the horses to beat. I don't know about the rest of them. I mean, he's going to have to be a decent horse to beat them. I respect when Wesley Ward ships horses in here. They seem to run. Now, you say he came with the other horse. Maybe the other horse came with him.
No, I'm just saying there's two of them on the van. I don't know how you want to look at it.
Wesley's had very good numbers shipping here, particularly with horses that have worked at Keeneland. They've done well. And this horse was in a terrible race first time out. Having said that, he worked the horse on dirt at Keeneland. I know the work looked slow, but if Wesley really didn't think this horse was going to handle the dirt, I don't think he would have wasted his time putting him on the van.
I don't disagree.
So I'm going to trust in Wesley, and I was hoping he'd be a slightly better price than 3-1. And like you, I was looking for an alternative. Race number 4. I guess the 1 and 3 you'll probably buy for favoritism. We'll take a look at Do You Know Who I Am? It's a funny name for a horse down the inside. Speaking of Stylish Rags, the horse for Wesley that's running later. Stylish Rags will win this race. And Do You Know Who I Am finishes second. What do you do with a Linda Rice horse that runs a winning race first time out? Though it was a very slow race, and this was not a particularly strong race.
It was slow. This horse showed I don't want to say a lot of speed, but was forward. Tried to get the 5.5 on debut and just got really outgamed to the wire. These two battled it out through the lane. I don't know what you do. Horse has been gone for a while too now. You're looking at almost 7 months.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to respect the horse. I think this is the kind of horse you got to use, but I don't know if I want this horse on top, well, off the bench out of a slowish race.
And let me ask you a question. You think he's going to be in front, or do you think Chili Choose is going to be in front?
No, I don't. Did I say in front?
No, I didn't. You didn't say in front. I'm just saying to you. Do you think this horse?
I would have to imagine Chili Choose.
I agree.
Is a little faster, right? Maybe more than a little faster.
How about this stat for Gary Siaka? How about this? He's 0 for 27, maiden special weight to maiden claim in the dirt. Now, to be fair, most of them were big prices. And Chili Choose won't be that big a price. And I do think he can win this race. He's 0 for 20 with 3 hitting the board with New York breds. This is an amazing stat because these horses win. But in all fairness to Gary, he might be the shortest price of anyone he's ever run in this condition, or he's probably one of 2. But they're not winning, and I thought that was sort of interesting. But I think Chili Choose can win this race.
Yeah, this was an old tip horse that I tried a couple of times. I tried him 2 back when he put the blinkers on, and he didn't really. It was a little bit of a difference. And now finally, after now after start number 4,
and she was awful.
They're going to drop in. I know. Yeah,
that's the problem. You drop after that terrible race.
Off the bad race. If this horse would have dropped after the race 2 back, it's a completely different beast, right? Say to yourself, okay, the horse ran well enough, but want to get a win. Last time out, this horse was just awful.
Okay, so why do you like Tell a Perfect Tale?
Awful. You get the trainer change to Bruce Levine. Bruce's horse been running. Betsy Blue came back and kind of beat the bias a little bit.
Betsy Blue was Carlos Martin.
Yeah, Betsy Blue was Carlos Martin. Kind of beat the bias a little bit in the finale over the weekend. Second time, rider changed to Kendrick. Not that Louis did really much wrong last time, but whenever you see, Kendrick climbing aboard, look, you're going to take a short price on a horse that looks kind of obvious on paper. But
yeah, I just didn't like the 1, and I don't trust the 5 in the drop down. I will say that Tell a Perfect Tale was on the rail for a lot of the running of the race, and the rail was very good that day. Moved the 2 and 3 path in the stretch, didn't do much running, but as it turns out, that race has turned out to be at least respectably live. At least the fig can be trusted at 56, so probably the horse to beat. I agree. Second time starter. What about Half Day Pam?
That's what I was just about to ask you. Blinkers go on.
Who is Half Day
Second
Pam?
start. I don't know.
Pam works here, works a full day. I hope
Pam.
you better not be teasing Pam.
Pam's one of the hardest workers we have. No, Pam's great. I remember Pam from the old OTB days when she ran Austin's Ale House. I know Pam 20 years.
Who do you think's luckier?
Me.
Okay, just checking. Just want to confirm that.
This horse gets blinkers on. Rider change to Manny Franco.
It was probably a better maiden 40. I just
second and third horses both came back to win. The rider changes
don't matter, but who won besides Busted My Groove?
Dynamic Dramatic Twist won on Monday. Came up the inside. Eric Cancel, Pat Quick.
Oh yeah, that horse got some trip to win that race.
Yeah, so that horse came back to win. It's not highlighted for you either because we printed these whenever.
What about Powell's Saratoga Gal, who's a full to Saratoga Powell? Why can't that horse be a runner for Chris Englehart?
I guess. Yeah, sure. How about? And see, I know you, and again, I know you're not going to care about this, but how about Nebo after 2 bad races with the blinkers, getting back to blinkers off the Violent I Am race? This horse is 20-1 on the morning line. That race 3 starts back. That horse can't get a piece in here with that race 3 starts back?
I didn't like that horse, but okay.
I guess you got to worry about the race in the mud 2 back, but it's going to be a gigantic number.
I didn't like that horse, but the horse will be a big price. That's the first 4. 4th race kicks off the early pick 5. The 3rd kicks off the Empire 6, of course, a mandatory payout every single day. We'll be right back.
No sport in the world brings the wins home like racing. It's one-of-a-kind, high-speed, high-stakes action, and Naira Bets takes you there. Place your bets and watch the races live from anywhere. With Naira Bets, make easy, secure deposits and promotions every day to earn reward points or cash. Download the Naira Bets app or visit nairabets.com.
Welcome back to Talking Horses. Anthony Stabile, Andy Serling. Back
Hello.
in action here on Friday. Race number 5 kicks off the late pick 4. And we'll start by looking at the race that Buyer's Remorse won 2 back, as Buyer's Remorse came back here just a week ago today. Did not run well trying to go a mile against a much better field. And Blitzton Lady did not run well in here. I'm hoping Blitzton Lady will run better today. Obviously, it's a bit of a hope. I will say they came back just 12 days after the claim, after she had a big win with a huge fig. So maybe the regression wasn't that surprising. And now she comes back 28 days later, so she has a little more time. I'm scared of Buyer's Remorse at the speed. I like those 2. I think the question becomes, which race do you want? I want the ones out of that race. I don't want the horses out of the Cadota Pay race. You obviously disagreed.
Yeah, this is the one time today where you and I kind of we're on
Why do you like the horses
here.
from that race?
I kind of went backwards here and felt the same way you felt. You liked one race or the other race. I don't know what happened to Blitzton Lady last time. I think Buyer's Remorse is probably, this is a lot of running now. This horse has run 4 times since January 22nd. So I think if you don't like those horses, you're going to gravitate the other way. Left-leaning Lucy did not have a great start last time out. Did not have a good trip. And
she didn't have a good start.
She didn't have a good start, but I think
She had a very good trip after that.
Right, but when you take a horse who's forward out of position, I don't think it matters what kind of trip you have after that. She's better when she is aggressively ridden and when she's able to.
Okay, with the 1 and 4 in here, isn't she in a little trouble to be a controlling type speed?
She's not going to be. I don't think she's necessarily going to be controlling. I don't think she can get in front of this. She certainly can't get in front of Buyer's Remorse. But drawn outside, in the clear, has the 2 speeds inside of her that I'm not a particular fan of. I think she can work out the right kind of trip in here. So I'm hoping she breaks. And Jorge Vargas, who has been aggressive, just puts her in the game. The last time was not his fault. I mean, there was nothing he could do last time. He got squeezed out of there with her. So I think if it reverts back to the 2 and 3 starts back, where he was aggressive with her, I think she'll be in the right place today. I don't prefer the other 2 fillies. I think Buyer's Remorse is coming back too quick.
Does it bother you that the only 2 races that Left-leaning Lucy has won have been on the front end?
A little bit.
And they're also against cheaper fields.
A little bit, yeah. It absolutely, I mean, I'd be a fool to say it doesn't. But with that said, she's going to be twice the price of the other 2 fillies, and she has a good race in the mud.
Does it bother you that the horse that won her last race stumbled to start? And she had a legitimate excuse too, and she still won the race. See, that bothers.
Well, one of them's a closer, and the other was just, and she's a front running type. So, like I said, when they lose,
let me rephrase that. Does it bother you that the race was won by a horse that was badly handicapped to start and still managed to beat the field quite easily?
It does not, because
that doesn't affect you.
It doesn't affect me because her race. If she
can't get the lead today, that's the problem. We
think that's the problem, right? I mean, it could be a problem. In hindsight, it could be a problem.
But she is, okay, so it doesn't bother you that the winner of the race she comes out
that doesn't bother me
was badly compromised, and sort of everybody in the race, and you did pick them the 2nd and 3rd, ran behind a horse that had a legitimate excuse still won.
No, that does not bother me.
Okay. Especially it bothers me.
Especially with her, because when
okay.
Her having a bad start is a lot different than the Cadota Pa.
You're not listening to me.
It doesn't bother me.
I'm not comparing Left-leaning Lucy to Cadota Pay.
Okay.
I'm not comparing them. Okay. It doesn't bother you that they all lost to a horse that was badly handicapped to start. It bothers me.
Okay.
Okay. race number 6. I think the question, there's a number of things going on in this race. One is timed out. We'll see timed out losing. Now, the conventional wisdom, and I'm sure Anthony will tell you this, is the horse couldn't get the 7 furlongs and tired at the end. The problem, and I don't totally disagree with that, the problem with that notion is you may want to take a good look at the PPs of the horse that beat timed out before you take another short price in this horse. I know you're going to say it's Mark Hennig, his horse is running well. The horse that beat this horse was woefully slow going into the race and not particularly fast coming out, and probably did prefer the 7 furlongs to timed out. But in reality, I'm not sure that field was much. There's no killers in here, but I'm wondering how strong that race was last time.
I don't necessarily disagree with anything you're saying. I don't see her being. She'll probably be the favorite. I don't see her being that short. You think she's going to be short? See, I think that board's going to be just about what David has it. I think it's going to be a fairly wide open board. I wouldn't want to make a line for this race. I don't know who they're going to bet in this race.
Yeah. Okay.
I think she could have moved a little too soon last time, too. But I do think the 7/8 was her enemy last time. That was her biggest enemy. I do think it was the 7/8.
Yeah, no, I think she can win. I just don't like the field she comes out of. Now, it's not as though Shaker Shack beat anybody particularly strong either, but she was pretty good in winning this race. I thought she ran well in here, and you know what? I know there's other speeds. I know she's a Dirty Dancer that has speed. I know Investment Grade has speed. I'm not sure she's not the fastest of the speeds, and I'm kind of hoping she just goes on a mission.
I'd be curious to see. I mean, this is a race where, when it comes to the speed, it's going to be about intent. I don't know if I could split these three. I don't know who's the fastest here. If you put a gun to my head, it's probably She's a Dirty Dancer. She's probably the fastest, and she gets Kendrick, and Kendrick's not afraid to use the speed. Not that the other guy, not that Louis Cardenas on Investment Grade and Trevor McCarthy are either, but I would think if one of them clears, it'll be She's a Dirty Dancer. They look so similar, Andy. That
I don't like She's a Dirty Dancer at all. I think she'll probably finish close to last in this race. She rode the gold rail last time, and I know others rode about well in that race, but I think she had the run of the race in there. What about Stylish Rags?
Stylish Rags is interesting. She's on that van coming up with the horse that we talked about earlier. We'll see. Do you know who I am? Earlier on the card as well. I don't know what to do with her. She did not get the dirt work that the colt earlier in the day got. Because she won on it already.
Right.
Yeah, I got it.
I just think the race she won was a bad race. I don't like that race. I think the question in this race a little bit is Gun Hill Girl. And I didn't show her last race because Gun Hill Girl did run a much better race than it looks on paper, because she didn't break. She broke about a length plus slow. She made a big 5-wide premature move from last, and she really did run a much better race than it looks on paper. The problem I have is that both Viva La Liberté and Tremaine, and one was in the rail, the other was in the 2-path, were complete and total no-shows here in a race over the weekend. So I'm a little bit concerned about whether or not this horse comes out of just a pitifully bad race. She did run well in that race. Now, I don't know. I don't think she's going to be the 6-1 fourth choice, that tied for fourth choice that David has her. I think too many people like this horse. David likes her. Mike Beer likes her. I get it, and I do get it. She's a little slow on figs, but a lot of people saw that trip. I'm just worried about the field she faced.
I don't like her based off those horses. If they didn't run that maiden race over the weekend, she'd be a lot more attractive. But those horses came back, and those horses were terrible.
I don't disagree.
And I know they weren't on the lead, and they weren't, but they did not run a step. And like you said, it wasn't like they were in the 4 and 5 path around the racetrack. They actually worked out fairly good trips and just couldn't. And let's they weren't facing the toughest maiden bunch over the weekend as well. So it's kind of the same thing. Not only did they not fire, but they didn't fire against a questionable field. And she's going to take money. She needs a little help. I mean, she'll probably get a little help on the front end, but she's not for me. She's not for me.
I won't be shocked if she runs well in here, but I don't like the field she's coming out of. But I will use her because she did run very well in her last race. Race number 7 gave me a bit of a headache. I don't understand why they kept entering the two horses as an entry. Did Rudy not realize which one he was going to run? He entered today.
I think the weather.
But he entered them both today, yesterday, and Sunday.
Yeah.
And they're both an entry, which is kind of confusing in there. I thought the struggle was Tear Gun. We'll take a look at Too Early. I thought Too Early ran very well last time. And the reality is, I think if the Too Early that ran this race shows up, I think that he might win, but I think that overall Cold Hard Cash is the better horse.
Yeah, this was Too Early's best race. I don't think we can argue that, right? No question about it. And again, not that he was, on the lead or anything, but he was aggressively handled and he was put into the race last time. He was never more than 2 lengths off the lead. I think that's
he's not. Which races?
No,
was
he's not that he's slow, but
he ran the race he figured to run last time.
Yeah, I guess. And you see Jorge Vargas now. Yeah, I would imagine, it's a weird race. And I had trouble with this race because what do you do with him off of his best effort coming back in 3 weeks? What do you do with Magnetron? I mean, Magnetron's an interesting horse.
He did run big last time. That was such a pitiful field.
But his 2 races, this is another horse, Andy. His 2 races for Rob Atras, since Rob took over in November, have been his 2 best races.
His race 2 back gets him 0 in here.
Right, but it was still his best race until last time. And then last time, I mean...
He ran, I agree. He scares me a little bit.
And he's supposed to be in front in here, isn't he?
What about your? I just think Cold Hard Cash might just be better than these horses. I know he got wired by Microscope last time. Microscope really ran last time, and I don't think he ran up. He beat Advanced Strategy quite easily. Advanced Strategy is the horse that came back and beat Too Early. I just think that Cold Hard Cash is running against better horses. If you look through his races, boy, you've completely given up on Rift Valley, who you loved last time.
Well, here's the problem.
Even despite my warnings.
The problem with Rift Valley is, again, I think Magnetron probably establishes and controls in here. I think you look at the race and you don't see a ton of speed. If they try and put Rift Valley...
You think Magnetron
I think Magnetron's getting in front of these horses. You don't? Do you think Hold My Call's going to go from the rail? I don't know. Well, maybe.
I'll be stunned if Magnetron's in front in this race.
After his last race, you don't think you're supposed to try to get to the lead at all costs in here? And at all costs, I don't think you're going to have to pay a hefty price. After his last race, you got to get him to the lead today.
We'll have to agree to disagree.
Okay. Well, who do you think? Is it Hold My Call?
No. I mean, I think that Rift Valley could be if they decide to ride them differently. I think that Too Early could be forward in this race. I think a lot of horses eventually have
If you told me Rift Valley is going to be close today, I want nothing to do with him. I mean, the race was terrible last time when he was close. He's better if you let him sit and make one run based on his first 2 efforts.
Probably right, but I don't see that Magnetron so much.
That's why I don't like him today.
I think the pace is somewhat murky, but I don't see that Magnetron.
See, if I was Rob and Manny, I'd be booting and scooting at it.
We disagree.
So I think he's a major player today.
Okay.
But you might be right, Cold Hard Cash, and that's why I picked Cold Hard Cash. He just might be better than these horses.
Yeah.
He can work out his own trip. Like you said last time, he kind of just fell suspect to a loose speed and fell victim to loose speed, and that was it.
Yeah, I thought it was a tricky race. I agree. I thought Cold Hard Cash might be the best horse. And there was nobody in here that I was overly excited about taking. I didn't really have an opinion beyond the logical types. I hear you with Magnetron, and I won't be shocked if he wins, but I don't know. So the scratch of Spitball in the last kind of turned the last race into a somewhat of at least on paper, a 2 or 3 horse race between the 3 and 7. We'll look at Imperio D. Won big last time. I don't know. We'll show you Rudy's record off maiden wins coming back and claiming races, but Imperio D found the right field last time and might find the right field today.
At the very least, Rudy's doing what the binder says you're supposed to do. You break your maiden, you try to cut him in half next time. Well, we don't run him low in 16 for the 2 life, so he's in for the bottom, and that's what you're supposed to do.
And without Spitball and number 1 Dylan in here, it's really 2 maiden breakers. This horse and Joycey Has Pizzazz.
And I guess you have to worry with Joycey Has Pizzazz, the race in the mud. Horse was eased 2 starts back.
Yeah, I don't worry about those.
Yeah, but in this instance, I wouldn't either. Because the horse came back in 3 weeks and aired, so obviously it wasn't. But you know what? You could look at the fact that the horse came back in 3 weeks and aired and say maybe it was the mud. That could be an issue.
Trapeze Artist ran a little last time, but he'd have to hope that both the favorites didn't run their races. Maybe it was the mud with a 7. I don't. At this point, I have so little to say because the scratches have you've now got a 6 to 5 and a 2 to 8 to 5 basically, and Trapeze Artist will be the 3rd choice, and nobody else can take any money in here. I mean, I don't know where else you go. I don't know who else you're supposed to take in here. I just don't. I mean, you have to have Randy Persaud in every race, but I don't. I just don't see anyone else.
Well, I mean, he was originally the 5th pick. I mean, now it's, you know what I mean?
I get
it's
it.
with the ones with
He would
Spitball
definitely originally be my 7th pick. I get it.
Yeah. With Spitball and number 1 Dylan out, the races obviously.
He would have been my 7th. I had 5 picks and didn't include the 2. So I had 2 of them scratched, and I ended up moving up. Let me see. Would I have picked him over American Star?
You got to feel pretty confident with 3s and 7s in the finale, right? I mean,
I guess Trapezar is not impossible.
No.
He showed a little life last time. You could argue the principal
I
dancer
liked him last time. Yeah.
The answer is better than these. I don't know. All righty. I think we're done.
I do too.
We're showing the Laurel Stakes tomorrow on America's Day at the Races. We're on from 1 to 5:30, both Saturday and Sunday. We're covering
All 6 of them?
Yeah.
We're covering all 6 tonight on the Weekend Stakes preview presented by Naira Bets.
Let me guess, you like
7.
subsidized in the Miracle Wood. Just a wild stab. Call me crazy.
Not giving it up, Andy.
We know you like subsidized. They know, I know, everyone knows.
Giving up. I'm not giving
Nothing to
it
give up. It's a given. You can make the parlay. Repeal and replace and subsidize.
You listening to this? Hope you're listening to
The
this.
people at home know that I'm right. They know.
Hope you're listening to this.
They know. All right. I know you need to head to Naira Bets.
I know that you know you got to head to Naira Bets.
That was good.
Thanks.
Anyway, we'll match with $200 your initial deposit. Use the promo code MATCH200. We will enjoy Naira Bets, keep the money in the game, all that good stuff. Once you've joined, you can play the Aqueduct Saturday contest, $300 buy-in. It's closed at 5 o'clock today. And by the way, 2 weeks, the Gotham, there's a $3,000, I believe.
3 dimes.
Yeah, don't miss that. We've got, is it 4 big contests or 6?
6 sounds about right.
There's one
2
to
in
Gotham,
Saratoga,
there's
right?
one to
Gotham Wood.
Belmont Stakes. There may be
2 in Saratoga.
Are we sure there's one for the Wood?
I would imagine if there's one for the Gotham, there's one for the Wood.
I don't know. It's all on Naira.com.
Naira.com.
The beauty of life, as is the Saratoga Stakes schedule. You know, it's funny, the 2 big changes in the Saratoga Stakes schedule, so we have a minute here, are the Jockey Club Gold Cup has been swapped with the Woodward. And for the people that are upset the Woodward left Saratoga, it was there 15 years. It was at Belmont every other running. So I don't
2005.
Actually, it wasn't at Belmont every other running because some were here.
Yep.
In fact, the great Woodward was run here between Dr. Fager, Damascus, and Buckpasser, and the Flower Bowl was moved. As far as the Jockey Club, the race is suffering badly. Close to the Breeders' Cup, we're trying to figure out how to make these races as relevant as we can. As far as the Flower Bowl, if you didn't recognize that horse race was dying on the vine, I mean, last year was basically a very similar field to the one that we had, in fact, for the Weah. And now, I assume the Beverly D is probably not going to be run this year, right?
I believe that's correct.
So you have the Alabama to start the meet and the Flower Bowl to end the meet. And last year,
Diana,
and then what did I say?
Alabama.
Diana, and excuse me.
That'll be a neat double.
Diana and into the Flower Bowl, and people have been taken off, and they want more time to go to the Breeders' Cup, and we're trying to adapt to the times.
And
Same thing with the Jockey Club Gold Cup, and we're trying to adapt to the times, and it's tricky, you know, and we're trying to do what we can. And I for one, I applaud the move of Flower Bowl. I don't always agree. Martin and I disagree on things, but I think he's 100% right.
And we're vocal about it when we do disagree.
Yeah, I mean,
I love this move for the simple fact that you do not want to see a race like that continue. I mean, we had 2 5-horse fields the last 2 years in the Jockey Club Gold Cup. Okay, and it was won by 100. No offense, it was won by 100 to 1 shot.
And if somebody says, well, the 3-year-olds ran, well, they can run in the Woodward now.
Correct.
But and that's a grade 1 too, and a very prestigious
now, are we keeping the
race.
Woodward at the 1.25 miles like we chose, or is it going back to the 1.8 miles? Because last year it was running 1.25 miles for the first time in a while. I don't know if that I didn't see.
I'm old. I remember the Woodward was 1.5 miles.
Right. I remember when the Jockey Club Gold Cup was 1.5 miles.
Well, it was 2 miles. I remember it was 2 miles. Who was the last winner at 2 miles?
At 2 miles? I don't know. I know the last one 1.5 miles was Easy Goer.
Last winner at 2 miles was Group Plan beating Wajima in a 4-horse field. Swargo scratched.
I was
it
not
a sloppy
alive.
Track, and Group Plan beat him. And somebody had said to me, I think they might have, one of the reasons they may have cut it back was they said it's like about, you know, the chief won it with Group Plan for Jack Dreyfus at Hobo Farm. That it was a horse he had claimed. I want those cheap horses to be winning the Jockey Club Gold Cup. But I remember watching that race on television. Probably CBS did the races back then. I remember watching his final start.
So essentially the Chief won the Whitney, the Jockey Club Gold Cup, and the Marlboro Cup with claiming horses.
Who do you win the Marlboro Cup with?
What race did Prove Out win?
Won the Woodward.
Won the Woodward. So he won three.
Was Prove Out a Woodward? A claimer?
I believe so.
Onion was, right?
Yeah. Imagine winning those 3 races with claiming horses.
He was a pretty good trainer.
He was all right.
The Woodward was the slop that Prove Out won, right?
I believe so.
I think it was, yeah. That's a little before my time.
But again, that was back, like Andy said, that was back at Belmont.
Yeah, well, the Woodward was run.
You can insert joke
Belmont.
here. The last time I stood on a bench to watch a race was the 04 Woodward between Go Sapper and St. Liam at Belmont Park.
I watched it in the box next to Frank Stronach, who owned Go Sapper.
Of course.
Because I was with friends who had Greek Sun in the Man of War,
Man of
which
War.
I believe was run as a race before or after.
We moved them.
They were next to each other. Oh, they were next to each other for sure.
I'm just thinking, was it the
sixth.
Man of War was the Bowling Green?
Man of War, because Magisterial won.
We moved the Man of War to the fall, huh?
No, the Man of War was always run in the fall. What are you talking about? We moved the Man of War to the summer because Curlin wanted to run the turf to see if he could run that.
right.
Man of War was always in the fall.
That's right.
Saw Weah win. I was there when Weah beat
That's right.
Tiller.
I see. I forgot that part. Oh wait, we moved it to the
Don't you remember
to July.
the Secretariat won the Man of War before he went to Canada
Before he
for
went
his
to
last
Canada,
race?
correct.
Anyhow, you've heard enough. Johnny and I will be up with a reprise of Scratch and Change about 10 minutes, and Maggie and I will be here to entertain you throughout the day. Maggie's here. I saw her.
And entertain they will.
All right. Have a great day.